Testing 1, 2, 3. And good evening, everyone. Well, that was a surprise. That came on awfully quick. Hi, I'm Steve Ferreira, and I'm CEO of Ocean Audit and the host of OK Boomer Live. And welcome to a Monday night edition. I figured the Monday night football game is probably not very good, so I hope you tune in and spend a little time with the Boomer and get into that Boomer lifestyle. So it's so amazing to be here today. I just wanted to talk about a few things before we get started. Thrilled that I'll have my weekly 9:30 show starting after November 5th on FreightWaves TV. And I call my new show Navigate B2B. And my first guest will be actually on November 5th. It'll be Sani Monters of Flexport, COO. And we're so happy that Sani and I will be able to talk and really get some groundbreaking info out there that will be interesting to all the audience members and contribute to the FreightWaves live show coming up this November 5th. 12:05 is my show. So really tickled pink to be able to do that. It's going to be fantastic. I don't know, this FreightWaves TV thing is just an amazing opportunity. And I really want to thank the whole team there for their faith in me and trust in me to bring new and exciting and vibrant content to them. And it's my pleasure to do so. I thrive on finding the unique underbelly of not only ocean freight, but international trade, logistics, supply chain, and just the interesting B2B personas that are out there. It's interesting. Recently, some of you may not know this, I signed with a publisher and completing 2 books that are due out this summer. And it's an amazing process to go through writing a book. As I look at the book, it's almost like a navigation of the career that I've been through. And I look at it and I say, holy cow, you've accomplished, you've been in the ocean trade for some 30 plus years, and now it's time to write a book. What's up with that? But I guess people bloom at different times and ages in their life. And I think that's one of the neat things about that I've heard from a lot of my younger clients, which is, just an incredible compliment, that's people are thrilled to, have one of their own, me. I mean, I come from the world that you're in, and I've been on the logistics side, of course, the ocean carrier side, and running and the stewardship of Ocean Audit. So it's been an amazing journey that I love the ride that it's on right now, and I think the pace is fantastic. I'll still continue to do the OK Boomer shows and maybe combine some of the content with the FreightWave shows. However, I do want to bring a fresh air of a burst of energy, to the new FreightWave shows, just because they're so, the audience is 35,000 or so people a day, which is, pretty intimidating when, you're looking at this camera and I've got this little monitor. It's like, I'm not a media guy trained classically at all. So I do enjoy the ability to find a differentiated way to bring you guys new content and material. And that's sort of like what I wanted to do tonight. It dawned upon me that when I read an article on Exxon to cut 14,000 global jobs, including 1,900 in the U.S. as pandemic hurts demand. I came to the conclusion that we're doing really well at home, and then we're getting kind of home work blocked. It's kind of a neat way to say it, right? Homework blocked. And I'll explain that in a second as I go through a few of the bullet points that I had set up for tonight. And tonight's show came together, basically about an hour and a half ago, thanks to my incredible graphics artist, Sharif, who I don't think he ever sleeps. Sharif, do you sleep? He's in Egypt. And I know that we have a great guide for Egypt as soon as the crisis hits. We're coming to you, Sharif, that's for sure. What a great guy. Just a great freelance artist that I hooked up with about a year ago. Now we're like brothers. So it's a good thing. So it's an amazing journey so far, and I hope you're all staying safe. And I think I was thinking too, just about the fact that we sit here on election eve, and geez, you'll never hear me go, political at all. I think that's something that's totally offline here. I just hope that, everything's cool, and, we get through this as a country, and, we're all brothers and sisters at the end of the day. So I like the way I said that. That was pretty cool. Maybe I do have a future in, the Walter Cronkite look. By the way, the new glasses tonight, you guys like it? I know you're thinking, hey, where's the tie tonight? I know. But, I gotta change it up here. So welcome again tonight to another edition of OK Boomer Live. I'm Steve Ferrara, CEO, your host, CEO of Ocean Audit. And I also double as your host for OK Boomer Show. And welcome to my new show, Navigate B2B on FreightWaves TV. Regular slot will be Friday, 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I think I follow some of those luminaries like Dooner and Kevin Hill and Michael Vincent and just Emily Zink and Craig Fuller, just an amazing team. So we'll see how that goes, but it's really, really terrific. And the branding and the ability to have that media audience is just really, it's a badass, in a good way, situation for me. Don't even know if I use that term right. I try to combine, the logo of my show, B2B for badasses. So sorry, guys. Okay, so into tonight's show, the Power Hour, I guess as you call it. Let me share a few screens with you, and I promise not to keep you very long tonight as you contemplate voting. And by the way, go vote. Definitely go vote. I want you all to do that. That'd be cool. So let me share a screen. And the first one I want to talk about today is the do this, don't do that, from the famous book series, right? And here we go. Make that bigger. And I think that should work. Should move that in. I've got a terrific little monitor up here. See, I'm learning so many of the tricks of the trade, so I can just make sure that there's like one monitor to my left, main monitor in the middle, monitor above my camera, monitor up top in vision, so I can see really well what's going on. So I'm just experimenting with all this stuff. So the one thing I found that a lot of professional men and women in logistics are going through, and I talked about this with some friends that came over the house for the weekend, and we talked about how Zoom is great, Teams are great. I thrive on it. I've got a great setup for it. I really do well with clients and meet with teams on Teams and Zoom. I quite love it. I really do. I really love it a bit. I think the issue is when you have multiple people, right, in an organization. Like I'm thinking of a large chemical company that I met with right before the crisis, and it was great. I got the guys in the room, and we all agreed we're going to move forward and start the refund review for ocean freight. And then those guys go and they go in their own homes, and one's working in one city, one's working in another city, and then you lose a little bit of the cross-pollination, right, between continuing the project versus crisis management. And that brings me to the slide at hand. When you look at where we think, the even keel is, right? What's the high watermark that we're aiming for? Is it that we've become crisis event managers instead of import managers or logistics managers? So, we want to be a logistics manager, right? And we want to have that functionality. And we don't want to be running crisis, right? We want to look at, in the terms of what we try to see at Ocean Audit, is a continuity of savings and making sure the invoices are, 5x5, meaning that they're perfectly accurate and correct, right? So there's no loss of working capital. So what's the worst thing that can happen in the crisis is when there's this gusher of working capital going out. And so, you can look upon it, okay, I'm a traffic manager, or I'm a logistics manager, or I'm a logistics director. These are my invoices. Or you can say I'm a crisis event manager. And, Steve, these are all such special situational invoices with various degrees of premium charges, right? Which one sounds better? Right? It sounds better to say, okay, I'm a logistics manager, import manager. I've got an invoice control or an invoice cadence that comes into my unit that I have to sign off on. Now, that doesn't mean that they're good at auditing or not good at auditing, but so far, I think you get my tenure here where I'm going with this. So then it's money spent on imports or money gone. Now, they don't want to say it's gone, because the next crisis item is the CFO saying, why are you over budget? As opposed to the logistics people polarizing back and saying, hey, Mr. CFO, we are clawing back, right? And that's the kind of cadence that you want to see. So these are fine moves. And I'm not suggesting that we've abandoned these, but rather I'm suggesting the fact that we need to revert back as we start to see no potential end to this crisis, into these sense of normalcies, where we're going to be able to rescue funds and lower the landed cost and deal with the premium pricing that's going on, especially in the Trans-Pacific. And so going back to my example of these, really nice guys at this chemical company, I think that I shouldn't say, that's one of the things I'm trying to slip out of with my television thing. I think you would agree with me. That sounds better. I think you would agree with me that the opportunity to save money or get a recovery or identify the overcharge in a 10 or 15 minute stretch of time is much better than kind of the pay and play, right? Just you pay and just play the game. And then a year goes by and even the best intentions of recovering or identifying the disputes that you might have footnoted go by the wayside. So what I am directly trying to share with you tonight is there is a tremendous crisis taking place within, and it's not only imports, it's also exports. But tonight I'm focusing on imports. And if I get the one message out tonight, that one of the things that is controllable is this import payment expense that's going off the rails, the over the budget scenario. It's pretty easy to explain to a CFO, right, why we're over budget. Well, there's a premium slotting fee, or there's this and that, or we can't get the cargo out of the port, so we have these accessorial fees. But I'm not talking about necessarily explaining why you're over budget. I'm talking about doing something about it. And so one of the things that I've done, and again, being the leader in ocean freight refund recovery, I don't think anyone else could say it to be true. But going back to the two guys at the chemical company with like 20,000 containers, the message is, if they had 10 minutes, there's a way to solve a significant part of the overcharge issues and invoice defect issues that they're going through. 10 minutes. It only takes 10 minutes to engage and to recover and redeem and to claw back. Right, so we want to do this, right? Claw back, and we want to say darn it, right, instead of damn it, right? We don't want the heavy lifting. None of us want that extra burden or resource put on us, and nor should we. as I talked about people working from home, it is a challenge, right, for every new initiative. I just say this to everyone within my earshot and the replay of this video. It just takes 10 minutes to claw back 5 and 6 figure recoveries from overspent, misappropriated ocean freight. I have one client that we are ready to close a deal where there is a high 6-figure recovery that we plan to identify and share with that client, and taking only about 15 minutes of that client's time. Now, the client may want to do a little bit due diligence and check some of our work or verify the findings. However, that's not really mandatory. The findings are out there. The findings are realistic. The findings are what they are. The real deal is the repatriation of funds, and whether I tell the client they're going to get back 50,000 and they actually get back 42,500, or they get back 70,000. At the end of the day, it's repatriating the funds so that these clients have working capital. Over at Exxon, I have found over probably 350,000, and I can't even give it back because the way Exxon's aligned in Europe, in the procurement center in Houston, and now they're laying off all these folks. I can save. By the way, Exxon, if you're listening to me, I can save 2.3 jobs at Exxon with the overcharges that you've accumulated on misaligned ocean freight. It's that easy. There's no rocket science to this. Well, maybe there is, because it took me 30 years to come up with a system. But the fact is that this money is out there, and every corporation in the world needs to take advantage of this, right? Right, guys? I mean, it's not simple. It's not that simple. It's not like, the auditor, whether it's me or someone else, is coming to you and saying, hey, you pay us $1,000 an hour for this information. I mean, I don't know how other auditors operate, but my approach and my philosophy is, hey, give me 10 minutes. You get back 400,000 or 500,000. That's cool. Let me know when you get it, and then I'll invoice you for a percentage of it. So, guys, we need to look at this as an opportunity to cross-pollinate between finance and logistics and supply chain and procurement. It takes 10 minutes to develop the recoveries that your teams are looking for. And remember, the very job that you're working on could be impacted if that company doesn't accumulate enough funds or makes enough profits, right? So it's all at the bottom line. So everybody, I think, within the community has to realize that savings and cutting costs is just as important as spending, right? Right now, we're in this manic mode where, Jefferies Investment Company says, hey, we're in the resupply of America. We're in the time of our life in terms of resupply. Amazon's tripled their volume, or Target's, trying to max out their warehousing, or, look at Walmart, right? Look at e-commerce. Look at essential versus non-essential retailers. Look at what some retailers have done very dynamically to pivot in this crisis. But at the end of the day, it's all about the fact that financial benchmarks and bottom line equations need to be settled. And to do that, we don't want to leave funds, overpaid, misaligned, overbilled funds in foreign bank accounts of international global transportation vendors. So the time to act is now. It takes 10 minutes. Most clients achieve significant minimal level five-figure refunds and up. Of course, smaller clients in the 50 to 100 container range, not as robust. That's not to say it's not improbable to see a 5-figure refund for those folks as well. The reason why I bring up this issue so diligently is if you take a look at something else that we're working on. And that has to do with, let me share with you the China 301 issue. And that issue is such that, I'll bring this screen up now. Here we go. It's a little sluggish. We'll get it. Here we go. Sorry, guys. These are unique file types, so it took me a little while to convert them. Come on, let's go. Share it. I see some magic taking place there. There we go. Finally. Okay. So what we have, if you talk about the China 301, there are about 3,000 importers that have petitioned to get 301 trade relief through a series of court filings to petition the International Trade Court for recovery of their 301 duties, certain categories. So as I understand it, and again, I don't have, I'm not privy to the bottom line in terms of how the legal filings took place, but I think that there's a legal fee incurred for each company that wanted to file these potential recoveries within the International Trade Court. And somebody told me the number was $30, $50, $30, $40, $50,000. I'm not sure what it is. But I took a look at the list of the 3,000 importers. Now, some of them are not the biggest, right? Because if you think about it, duties and tariffs, right? You don't need a huge importer to regulate a large tariff bill, right? Customs duty bill. So I took a look at 1,000 names on the list out of the 3,000. And immediately I went to my database and my algorithms that I manage, in terms of prioritizing potential clients for ocean audit recovery. And I would say I found 1,000 of the clients, a $30,000 recovery. Again, it's my secret sauce how we get there. But the bottom line is that if you're on the 301 list that you filed a court action, I believe that I can recover at a minimum 30,000 from most of those, for about a third of those clients. Now, again, one size doesn't fit all, and I don't want to speak, I want to speak very broadly here in terms of what I can and can't do. But again, it's a 10-minute process where, somebody calls me and I just flip a switch because of the way that I wrote everything for the past 10 years. And we spent so much time in Europe with my European IP guys, working out how to get these recoveries identified quicker and faster and better. Of course, it might not be perfect all the time, but I think the idea is that if you're spending money, you want to try to recover it, right? So, take a look at if you're on the list. I won't bore you guys and just put the Excel list up with all the names on it. But I think it's important to say if you filed an action to recover 301 duties and tariffs, in the LinkedIn post that I put on this topic, I put my calendar, and feel free to reach out to me and I'll schedule a consultation with you and I'll tell you, how much I have for you. And, if it's a smaller amount, I'm willing to actually give you that money for free. My interest is really in doing a comprehensive ocean post audit. So if I can recover, a handful, I won't say, I'm going to just go out and say, hey, here's 10,000 here, here's 15,000 here free. I am saying that I'll work with each client on a case-by-case basis. And if I see some money that tells me that, hey, I think I can do that in order to do this and work with you as a potential, recovery client right now or down the road with regards to your ocean freight recoveries, I certainly will do that. and I'll work with you as best I can. One thing you'll find with me is, is extremely flexible in terms of my positions on how to do business. And I think that you'll find that it's very simple, right, to really undertake an initial recovery. Now, we might not be digging, down to the 1 cubic meter shipment and, analyzing that, but I don't think we need to, right? I think in this business, it's really, let's look at the majors, let's focus on the 80-20 rule and go from there. Just in closing, I'll stop sharing the screen with you. I'll go back full screen. But I took a look. Sometimes, one of the nice things about being, by the way, you're watching Steve Ferreira, CEO of Ocean Audit, host of OK Boomer Live. And it's a pleasure to have you guys here tonight. But one of the things that's really kind of cool about being an entrepreneur, I think you have to develop a really great memory. And I was taught by this guy, he's 90 something now, Harry Lorraine. He wrote a memory book with a famous basketball player back in the 70s, Dave DeBusschere. And it's an incredible book on developing your memory. I'm going to try to see if I can have Harry on now. He's a little up in age, but I think, he's pretty spry. So I think he'd come on. But the point I'm trying to make is that I was looking at my client list over the next 3 to 6 weeks. And I started to write down, okay, I've got this audit, I've got this audit. All of a sudden, it's like I found, I've got like 20 engagements, and that's not even just kind of scratching the surface how quickly, a ocean freight post-recovery audit can come together because of that 10-minute simplicity, right? So I think you have to kind of factor that in. And these engagements are fairly straightforward. They don't necessarily take, months to complete. Matter of fact, I would say most engagements can be done in a matter of days, to be quite candid. So, I was writing it down in OneNote and I think, wow, 1, 2, 3. It's like, they just keep flowing out of my mind. It was like so cool to have that kind of following. So everyone that's out there that's working with me, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been great to chit chat with you on Zoom and help you to develop these recoveries. And I think what we want to do most of all is accelerate away so that you don't spend any of your time and you don't get frustrated and you don't take hours to, what's the worst thing that can happen? Somebody pitches an idea and then, it gets blessed internally. And then, you spend 10, 15 hours trying to source the information and nothing ever happens, right? You don't get any recovery. It just becomes kind of a cycle that, you'll never get back again for time. So we're trying to avoid that and, go into engagements and taking, 1, maybe 2 hours max, 3 hours maximum on the level of, if somebody really wants to say, okay, Steve, hey, look, I want to give you all my invoices. I want to give you all my data, blah, blah, blah. But I'm suggesting that that's a great thing to do. And that's kind of the gold standard of what I like to do. But even that only takes a couple hours maximum, right? There's another approach that I like that can get significant money really quick in 10 minutes. And I think that's the play that everyone really should be doing and should be looking at with regards to the timing of helping their corporations out. So I think that really kind of concludes, tonight's session on, do this, don't do that. And I would really encourage everyone that's working from home, that's in an import role, to look at the opportunity to take 10 minutes and let's mutually recover significant funds that, you can be the one that said, hey, I was the driver on this. We went off the rails in terms of our budget, but here's a way for me to claw back some funds that are legitimately ours, at the same time keeping our ocean freight vendors honest and with integrity and the partnership that we want to develop comprehensive zero free defect areas. And I think that's what we all at the end of the day really want to achieve. And if I'm one little part of that, that's great. So thank you again. Please look for me. Please sign up for Freight Waves Live on November 5th. You'll see we'll talk to Sane Manders at Flexport at 12:05. I can't wait for that. And look for me every Friday from there on out on my new show, Navigate B2B. And I'll have more information on my books, how they're coming. By the way, that is a really great process to go through to write a book. I'll talk about that. We'll maybe have another session on writing a book. And you can be sure of some great, really dynamic guests. As a matter of fact, one of my crossing fingers, one of my potential guests on Navigate B2B has about 200,000 people reporting to that person. So it's a pretty important role. So until we meet again, let me say thank you. Love you all out there. Please keep watching and commenting. Thank you again for your time, your energy, and always glad to help. And do leave a comment for me, either steve@oceanaudit.com, or feel free to write in the LinkedIn comments below the show. So have a great Monday night. Don't forget to vote, and we'll see you in a couple days. Cheers.